Does your fish escape within 3 seconds of playing? Chances are, a critical step is going wrong. Here's a simple trick to solve it. Losing a fish isn't the worst part. Nothing's more frustrating than letting a trophy catch slip away. Wild fishing for big fish is already a challenge. Encountering 1-2 bites a day is lucky, and sometimes it takes days for a single opportunity. If that fish escapes, you'll kick yourself. Fish escapes typically fall into 2 categories. Line, hook, or rod breakage usually happens when the fish is too large. Unintentional unhooking, this is trickier. The gear remains intact, but the fish gets away. Sometimes the hook releases instantly when you set it, other times after 2-3 seconds of playing. Many anglers struggle to understand why unhooking occurs or how to play fish safely, so let's break it down. The root cause of unhooking is a weak hook set. That's straightforward, but why does a weak hook set happen? Let's explore. First reason: hooked in the wrong place, not the mouth. While hooks in the mouth can still unhook, hooks snagged on the body have a much higher escape rate. Fish bodies are flat, smooth, and protected by scales, making deep penetration difficult. Most fish are filter feeders, preferring to suck in debris. We exploit this by using atomizing baits, tricking them into swallowing the hook while feeding. If bait atomization isn't controlled or the gap between twin hooks is misadjusted, snagging, hooking the body instead of the mouth, becomes likely. Choosing the right water depth and hook size is equally crucial. How to adjust? First, lower the float to fish shallower and see if the issue improves. If snagging persists, reduce bait atomization, knead it more, or decrease casting frequency. When striking, focus on small, firm dull bites. Exaggerated float movements often result from the fish rubbing against the line. Avoid striking then. When targeting carp, snagging is common because carp are cautious. After entering the nest, they rarely bite decisively. Instead, they test the bait repeatedly. If the line is rubbed during this process or the hook is only partially ingested, striking at the first float signal can lead to snagging and unhooking. Thus, when fishing for carp, we emphasize dull fishing. At minimum, ensure both hooks rest on the bottom with slightly bent sublines. If unhooking persists, add a small lead weight so the figure-8 loop or sinker lightly touches the bottom. Many anglers use a heavy sliding sinker, but it's not always reliable. Some report missing black floats, complete submersion, or unhooking. I recommend a light sliding sinker instead. Adjust the float to level water without hooks, then fish 2-3 segments with hooks and bait. This keeps the figure-8 loop lightly touching the bottom. Second reason: hooked in the mouth but too shallowly due to mistimed strikes or undersized hooks. When the fish struggles during playing, a shallow hook set can tear the mouth, causing escape. Anglers often opt for smaller hooks, fearing large hooks will block the fish's mouth. While small hooks are easier to ingest, their narrow gap makes deep penetration hard. Even if they hook the mouth, they grasp less tissue for big fish, this might be just a thin layer of skin. Using a small hook with a thin line and soft rod is better. You can only play the fish slowly to exhaust it. The problem arises with small hooks paired with stiff rods and thick lines. Aggressive pulling meets fierce resistance, and the mouth tears during the struggle. Striking timing, both too early and too late are problematic. Striking too early leads to a shallow hook, too late, the fish may have spit the hook. However, slightly late strikes are preferable, which is why we recommend dull fishing and ignoring uncertain bites. When targeting big fish, avoid reckless strikes. This prevents snagging or spooking the fish, keeping it in the nest for another chance. Once snagged or frightened, the opportunity is lost. Which bites should you strike when targeting big fish? Steady, forceful downward dips. Big fish rarely give sudden dips. Precursor signals like gentle float rises or minor twitches usually precede a firm downward dip. This is a solid strike opportunity. Slow sinking. This signal also has precursors, minor rises and dips. After lingering, a small dip may occur. Striking works, but some anglers wait for a more definitive signal. The float might then dip deeply, go black, or sink slowly until submerged, often indicating a large fish. Significant upward rises. Personally, I rarely strike for upward floats, a personal preference, but consecutive rises, e.g., 1-2 segments followed by another 1-2 or 2-3, demand a decisive strike. Also strike if the float rises dramatically, entire tail out of the water, even tilting, or rises then moves horizontally. Some anglers mistakenly blame escape during playing on wrong techniques. The truth, if you keep the rod arched and prevent line slack, the fish won't escape unless the line or hook breaks. Final tip: after an unhooking, immediately check the hook for a widened gap. I once overlooked a slightly widened hook, blaming bad timing or snagging. When the second fish escaped, I finally noticed the gap. Examine hooks closely. Learn from my experience. About the author: I'm a self-media blogger passionate about fishing and sharing tips. Follow me to exchange angling skills and explore the joys of wild fishing. Like, save, and stay tuned for updates.